Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Planet Film Network. I am one of your hosts, Sean Monk,
And I'm your other host, TJ Cornwell.
and tonight we are going to be doing a couple different things. Mainly, we're going to be chatting some Doctor Who. The 60th anniversary specials just wrapped up this week, which saw David Tennant leaving the role of the Doctor once again. But I'm sure we'll get into a little bit more specific on that a little bit later. We're also going to be talking a little bit about the Golden Globes, just kind of going over the major categories and kind of picking out who we think the front runner is going to be. And then the final thing we're going to be doing tonight is we are going to be going through our top 5-ish shows that we have watched this year, or shows that are from this year that we have really enjoyed. So, yeah, but before we do any of that, let's go ahead and talk about what we have been watching. TJ, what have you been watching?
You want me to start off?
Go for
it. Okay. Hold on one second. There we go. Okay. So, what have I been watching? Well, let me pull up the old diary here. So let's see where we last left off. I think I talked about Timeless Heroes the last time.
Yes,
So
for sure.
after that, Danielle and I we haven't had time to go through I think I mentioned last week, we wanted to do our little 25 days Christmas thing. Obviously, we have not had the time to do that. So we watched a few things sporadically, so we watched Mickey's Once Upon a Christmas, one of Danielle's favorites. We watched A Miser Brothers Christmas, which don't get that confused with A Year Without Santa Claus.
Oh, I could
This
never.
is actually the spin-off from 2008 that I didn't realize even existed. I rented it thinking it's the original, of course, and I was mistaken. Still, pretty good. But not the same. Not nowhere close to the classic, in my opinion. Then I also watched the 2 Doctor Who specials back to back. Then I watched the 60s. So one of those CNN like kind of mini series documentaries. Not available
Love
anywhere.
those.
So I thought, you know what? I've seen it at the library before. I will check it out. And so I came home, looked, disc 3, not disc 1, disc 3.
Wow.
So I said, well, this isn't going to do me any good. So then at that point, it had closed. So I was like, okay, screw that. But then I found it on YouTube, the whole thing. So I was like, well, I guess I didn't need this disc anyway.
Yeah.
Pretty good. I was kind of in and out of it, but still a really good documentary. They did a 2000s one, and they did 2010s as well. So I'm gonna look for those. I couldn't find them on YouTube, so maybe they'll be somewhere else. But like they're not on HBO. I don't think any of these are on HBO anymore.
They definitely used to be.
But they definitely used to be, right?
Yeah.
Speaking of HBO, did you see they took Watchmen off HBO?
Yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, fucking bullshit. Best show, maybe one of the best shows they've ever made, and they took it off. And then lastly, last night we watched Xmas. So I don't know if you've seen this advertised on Prime anywhere. It's a freebie movie, technically. It's with Robbie Amell. Basically, Robbie Amell is dating Leighton Meester, who plays Allie, and they're engaged, and then she breaks up with him, and then she's so close with his family that his family invites her to Christmas when they think he's not coming, and then he shows up, and hijinks ensue.
Oh, man, classic.
It's fine. Not great. I'll just leave it at that. Check it out, maybe, if you want to, if you got some time. Sponsored by Energizer, by the way.
Oh, wow, big time?
A few commercial breaks. There was like, oh, here's this look at Xmas brought to you by Energizer. I was like, well, thank you for giving me a look at the movie I'm watching. I appreciate that. In the ad break. And then there's one point where they are in the kitchen, they open a fridge, and then there's like a big Energizer magnet like on the fridge. And at first I was like, does Energizer make fridges? But I was like, oh no, it's literally just a magnet. There's also there's also like a big in your face kind of ad for ADT, like the security system.
Oh, yeah.
They're in like this car park, or this car lot where the guy's selling cars. He says, okay, let me just lock up, and he puts on his phone and hits secure, and it locks on the ADT app.
Wow.
Yeah, really in your face.
Incredible. Freebie
Yeah.
for a reason.
Freebie for a reason, exactly. And I think TV wise, I haven't watched anything. I guess the CNN doc was kind of my TV. I really want to check out one thing I am looking forward to that I haven't gotten to watch yet
Monarch?
is no is Blue Eyed Samurai on Netflix.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Heard that's really good. I really want
Does
to
that
check
have a
that out.
season 2 coming soon? Or that it got
Yeah, I think they
renewed?
announced it that it was
Okay.
greenlit. Yeah. Oh, by the way, speaking of Monarch, so does Monarch follow the same characters from the movies?
Some of them, yeah.
I didn't know that. I didn't know there was any sort of connection or anything.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, okay. By the way, what's Monarch? What is that?
It's like the best way to put it is like it's like the shield of the MonsterVerse. It's like,
Okay.
but honestly, I mean, we'll get to it in a second, but I've been what's it called? Is that everything for what you were watching?
That's it. That's all. I
Okay,
got, yeah.
so for me, I have been watching. Oh, jeez. It's been a long day out there, folks. I have been watching Monarch as well as the other day I watched Godzilla, and then the other day, which I don't even think I've told you this yet, but I've been gearing up for a really long time to get a new surround sound. Not a new, I've never had it before. To get surround sound set up for my house, and it finally came in the other day, and I finally set it up yesterday. So now I have full surround sound in my living room, and it is incredible. But before I got that, the other day I watched 2014's Godzilla, just because he's the moment right now. And then I watched Fred Claus while wrapping a bunch of presents.
Okay.
Whew. I then watched Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, which was, again, just continuing the Christmas mood. When I had my day off, I wrapped so many presents. I can't even... It was insane. It felt like a factory. And then present time was over. And it was time to really flex how the surround could work. And I watched something that I had never seen in my entire life, and that is I borrowed the 4K, the super...
Oh, you've never seen that?
No. I borrowed this super huge 4K box set with like 8 discs of the Francis Ford Coppola, what is it called? The Francis Ford Coppola classic, Apocalypse Now. And I will tell you, I wasn't like, oh my god, this is the best movie ever made. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. But it was really good, and more importantly, the sound was insane. Absolutely insane.
Did you smell the napalm?
I did in the morning, yeah. I did, actually. Yeah, he's really unnerving in that movie. Robert Duvall, he's just like... Like, I said to my friend earlier, I was like, he's like the guy that you're driving with, that he's like... oh, look at this thing that I have. And it's like, okay, yeah, great. Can you keep your eyes on the road? Like, it's like the whole movie, he's like... You're in a war... Well, for his portion of the movie. You're in a war zone, and you're like...
Napalm being dropped.
Yeah, what about those swells right there? You think you could surf something real nice off that? And I was just like, oh my god. And I felt so much like Martin Sheen just sitting in the back, like, just like looking at this guy just like talking and not taking this war seriously. This like horrific thing. But man, that
question
was good.
for you.
Go for it.
Did you have an issue with... Because I remember when I watched this movie for the first time, I think it was 2020, probably 2020.
Yeah.
And I have the 4K kind of collection. I don't know if it's the same one as you, because mine only has, I think mine is 3 discs. I know maybe you don't actually have 8, but on the 4K version, there's like an audio thing where it's like if you pick the wrong mix, like you can't hear it or something like that. Did you have that issue at all?
No, I didn't.
Because I Googled it, because when I started playing it, I was like, what the hell? Like, I can't hear anything. Like, what the hell? And I Googled it. It was like, oh, yeah, on this edition, like, if you pick the certain one, like, you can't hear anything.
Whoa.
And I was like, oh, weird.
I did have a moment where I think it was because, man, I haven't yawned like this in a long time. I guess I've been doing a lot of overtime this week, so we're going to get through that. I think I did have one little moment, like right in the middle of the movie where the audio dropped out for a second. I just muted the surround sound and then unmuted it, and then it like came back. But I don't know if that was something with the disc or if that was just something that like. The other thing that I thought it might have been after the fact was I still had my phone's Bluetooth on, so maybe it connected to the Bluetooth and like kicked off the PS5 for a second. But other than that, I didn't have any
Or
audio
maybe it was
issues.
like the sound would cut out or something. It was something weird where it would just be very like it just wasn't working for some reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure, but no, I didn't have anything like that at least.
Mm.
And then I've been watching Doctor Who specials the past 2 weeks. Also TV wise, I guess that's it. Other than right now, just yeah, I think so. Right now, just Doctor Who and Monarch are the two shows that I'm really keeping up to date on. And then just now, just wrapped up a couple minutes ago in the surround sound, I watched Godzilla King of the Monsters, which
Mm-hmm.
has always been a very big favorite of mine. And I will say this much: rewatching it this time, I went, "Wow, this is very much not written as well as the Monarch television show."
Mm.
But man, that movie looks and sounds insane.
Mm-hmm.
Like the visual effects in those movies are always crazy, but King of the Monsters really, really looks insanely good. It's kind of crazy. But it is very like, people's complaints of like, oh, it's just like giant walls of smoke and like lightning, and I'm like, that is a lot of that movie. But it is very, very good as well. A lot of great Godzilla stuff. A lot of great like kaiju in general
Mm-hmm.
stuff going on in that movie. But yeah, that's pretty much been all that I have been watching. Like I said, I've been trying to watch a couple of Christmas movies here or there, but I'm not just watching Christmas movies. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. So,
Oh
what do we
man,
want to do? What?
1 second. What was the? Oh, sorry. I was trying to see what the thing was.
Jesus.
Sorry. Uh, what's his name? Andre Brower just passed away from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and he was in Glory and a ton of other
Oh.
stuff. Wow. Sorry, I thought every single one of these headlines says Andre Brower dies. Sorry, you can't see that. Andre Brower dies, star of Homicide, and I just see Andre Brower dies of Homicide, and I was like,
Oh, I
what?
see. Yeah.
I was like, I wanted to like make sure that that was correct. That's crazy. He was
Right.
only 61. Man, R.I.P. Sorry, that was I just opened Twitter and that was the very first
That's
thing
all
that
right.
everybody talking about it. Man, that sucks. He was so good. I remember. I know it's not probably his most famous thing, but um, I really loved him in Glory. That was probably the first movie that I saw him in
Mm-hmm.
with him and Denzel and Matthew Broderick and stuff. Yeah, really good. And then he was just in. I wasn't a big fan of the movie, but he was just in that She Said movie about the Harvey Weinstein stuff just last year. R.I.P. Damn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that really stinks. Well, I will say I know obviously probably his biggest role of his career is Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I don't watch that show, but I'm sure
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that
dude.
is going to be a very big the internet fandom of that show probably be very vocal this week. But man, that sucks. All right, moving on from that. Share if you're watching. Share some Andre Brower love in the chats. What do you want to do first? You want to talk some Doctor Who or some Golden Globes?
Let's do Golden Globes first.
Great, perfect. All right. So this week, so a little bit of background. Hollywood Foreign Press obviously was what ran the Golden Globes. It was the voting body that reflected the categories and the selections of the Golden Globes many years. Um, Last couple years, kind of dealing with kind of controversy after controversy. Very famously, Tom Cruise sent all of his Golden Globes back in a box. Like, a lot of stuff during, the COVID years really was going on
Mm-hmm.
also with Hollywood Foreign Press. Nothing to do with COVID, but just whether it was a couple of sexual harassment, sexual assault issues with some of the people there, and then the big one was the organization as a whole was basically discovered to be just kind of hand over fist embezzling money, and having a lot of money issues and a lot of basically just trust issues to where they couldn't survive, and so people thought that the Golden Globes were going to be gone forever. They've always been on NBC, since the '60s. Then Ryan Seacrest with Dick Clark Productions comes in, swoops in at the last second, buys the Golden Globes. So now it is still the selection committee is still, and the voting body is still made up of foreign and international journalists, but it is not the Hollywood Foreign Press. It is a totally different agency now. And now the awards are going to be held for the first time ever on CBS. So a little bit of a shakeup with the Golden Globes. And another shakeup for what we're about to talk about is that just like the Oscars, it's always been 5 nominees. This is the first year where the nominees have been expanded to 6. So with that going, let's go ahead. Let's do every other one so that we don't tire out here. And we're not going to do all the categories. I just mean reading it. So first one here, Best Director Motion Picture. So we have Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Celine Song for Past Lives, Christopher Nolan for Oppenheimer, Greta Gerwig for Barbie, Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, and Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things. Quickly, what are your thoughts on here, and who do you got right now?
Yeah, obviously we haven't seen all these movies. I think you've seen one more than I have.
Yeah.
I think you saw Past Lives, right?
Yeah, and two of them technically are not out yet. So
right. I'm gonna go with Nolan for this one. Seems like a shoe-in for me. And I think
for sure,
if we were making Oscar predictions, I think he probably wins the Oscar as well.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I really think that this is. I honestly don't even think it's close to anyone else. I think, I was watching, not to steal Jeff Snyder's line, but I can't remember if it was FYC, which is an amazing show. If you like award shows, go watch FYC with him, Scott, and Perry, but or the Hot Mic. But he was like, I think, I personally think second one would maybe be Marty or maybe be Yorgos. I think those are the only two that could maybe creep up there because, Yorgos has been putting in work with Academy and awards fair for a long time, and maybe it could be time to be recognized if Nolan wasn't on the list. So, and again, I think it will be Nolan for the Oscar as well. All right, what about this one? Do you want to read it?
Sorry, yeah, animated. Let's see. The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Super Mario Brothers movie, Suzume, and Wish. So what do you think's going to take it from here?
Should be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Not even nominated.
Not even nominated.
I guess out of this list, I would have to say Across the Spider-Verse. I have not seen The Boy and the Heron yet. I want to say that people are happy with how the movie's performing. They're happy with the movie, but I'm not hearing anyone cry out from the rooftops that this is a must-watch, greatest Studio Ghibli, greatest Miyazaki film. Although I think similar to basically whenever Pixar would make a movie for a time, it would get nominated. Anytime Miyazaki's going to make a movie, it's going to get nominated. I would still say probably Across the Spider-Verse, just because, say what you will about the story choice, that's kind of where people bristle at the movie, it feels, as they go, well, it's not even a full movie. Take that out of it, it's got just as much incredible stuff going on as the first movie. But yeah, so I'll go Across the Spider-Verse.
I'll agree with you. Probably Wish, from what I understand, probably shouldn't even be in there.
Yeah.
Probably switch that with TMNT.
Absolutely. Because people said that Elemental was good, like that.
Yeah, I've heard that Elemental's pretty good. And it's on Disney Plus now, so I'll probably check it out at some point.
Absolutely. All right, Best Motion Picture Drama. So first one, we have Anatomy of a Fall. Then we have Killers of the Flower Moon, Past Lives, Zone of Interest, Maestro, and Oppenheimer. And again, because this is Golden Globes, it is split between drama and then musical or comedy.
Oh yeah. I'm gonna go with Oppenheimer again. I think an easy kind of choice. I do want to check out all of these movies. The only other one I've seen is Killers of the Flower Moon. But I'm definitely intrigued by Maestro. Very interested in Anatomy of a Fall and Zone of Interest and Past Lives, obviously. But don't know when or where I'll be able to watch like the Zone of Interest. Like,
Yeah, I know Zone of Interest is out of the UK.
yeah.
So I think at that one it's just we're just gonna have to wait our turn and find out what streamer it's going to be on.
Mhm.
I think that's probably what it'll be at the end of the day. Actually, the theater that I work at, we did show Anatomy of a Fall for
Oh,
one
okay.
week,
Of course.
but I
Yep.
just did not have the time. I didn't have the time that
Right.
week to
Yeah.
go see it and everything. But definitely up there on the list for sure. But I do think it's going to go to Oppenheimer, and I think if I had to pick, I think the Oscar is going to go to that as
Hmm.
well. All right, you want to take this one?
Yeah. Best motion picture, musical or comedy. So Air, American Fiction, Barbie, The Holdovers, May December, and Poor Things.
All right.
So just real quick off the bat, I'm not really sure. From what I understand, haven't seen the movie. Funny enough, Danielle the other night was asked if she could watch it. And I was like, well, I want to watch it too. So we're waiting to watch it together. But May December, not sure how that's a musical or a comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't believe it's a comedy whatsoever. I know for a fact it's not a musical. Um, just real quick, my prediction. I'm gonna go with. mm, I I'm gonna say it'll probably be like I want to say it'll probably be the Holdovers, but I think it'd be cool if Air won.
Uh, I think if you're talking the Academy, I think
Yeah.
Best Picture goes to Oppenheimer. But if you were to somehow split the atom, no pun intended, I actually didn't even mean that, at the Oscars and give it to two, then I think you're talking about Oppenheimer, and I think you're talking about Holdovers. For the
Mm.
Globes, I think this is Barbie's award to lose.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I think
Right.
that the Globes are gonna they want the big Ryan Gosling, Margot Robbie moment because well, particularly Margot Robbie and Greta Gerwig because they are both producers on the movie, so they will be awarded if it wins Best Picture. Particularly Margot Robbie being like kind of the producer that literally got this whole
Hmm.
thing going. I would love it to be Holdovers. I would love it to be Air. I have heard nothing but great things about American Fiction, nothing but great things about Poor Things. And I've heard good things about May December, but I do think that May December is kind of having a little bit of a peaking moment right now.
Hmm.
I'm not so confident on May December being anything more than just a very successful Netflix launch, which is what it kind of feels like right now. But that being said, I have not watched the movie. But for the Globes, at least, I think this is going to be Barbie. A pretty big shoe in. I think because they're the only award ceremony that gets to say that they gave Best Picture to Oppenheimer and to Barbie, and I don't think the
Hmm.
Golden Globes I don't think the Golden Globes can afford to not generate those kind of headlines, if
Hmm.
that makes sense. You know what I mean? Because the Golden Globes are in a bad spot right now, and I think that would help them. Best Motion Picture, non-English language: Anatomy of a Fall, Fallen Leaves, Io Capitano, Past Lives, Society of Snow, and Zone of Interest. Society of Snow, I have heard, is very, very good.
Mm.
Did you ever see the movie Alive?
No.
Okay. So this is, I believe it's called Alive. I might have just very confidently said the wrong name of the movie, but I'm pretty sure it's that. So back in, I think it's the 90s or late 80s, there was this movie called Alive, basically about this. It's about this plane that crashes in the mountains with this. I believe they're a ski troupe. And
Hmm.
it's just about them surviving essentially. And so this is a new version of basically that same old movie, or at least it's based on that same story. People have been saying really, really good stuff. That being
You're telling
said,
me the guy who directed Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom directed that?
yeah, J.A. Bayona.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
I
Well.
guess people are saying that's great. I don't know. If I had to pick one out of here, I think it'll probably go to Past Lives.
Mm.
Just because
Uh,
it's the big
is
A24 hit from earlier in the year that's
is it?
held.
It's not English. It's not spoken in English.
No, it's not spoken in English, but it is
Oh.
an American movie. So this is
Oh,
another
I didn't know that.
distinction between the Academy and the Golden Globes is that the Golden Globes awards basically the language spoken in the movie rather than the country of origin. So
Oh.
basically, Past Lives is a 100% American movie,
Right.
but the whole thing is spoken in another language. So
I did not know that.
basically counts for it. Original score we could skip over for now. Original song. Well, let's talk. All right, let's say original score for a second. Um, I don't know about that one. For She Came to Me, I don't think so. I think we're just talking about these three here, or these four probably. I'll say. So we got Dance the
I think
Night.
Dance the Night.
Yeah. Well, we got Dance the Night. We got I'm Just Ken. We got What Was I
Oh,
Made
yeah.
For? And we got Peaches. I really don't think that we can count out Peaches in this, in like sincerely in this. I think that was a huge moment. I think this might be a chance to give an award to Super Mario Brothers. That being said, if we are really just looking at the three major Barbie contenders, I think that Dance the Night is kind of the anthem of that movie, of the pop cultureness of the movie. But I do think that I'm Just Ken is a really satisfying moment in that movie. And I think it helps really make that Ryan Gosling performance. But then What Was I Made For is the entire emotional heart of the movie. And you're
Right.
talking about two-time Oscar winner Billie Eilish. So, I mean, that's a lot of muscle to be going up against. So, which one would you give it to if you were
I
voting
mean,
right
I'd
now?
give it to. Personally, I just love. I Dance the Night. I think is a great song that
Yeah.
just. I feel like really brings you into the beginning of the movie. So I think that's great. But I agree with you on the I'm Just Ken and What Was I Made For. Those are also great songs within that movie. I don't really think, honestly, Peaches. I don't think that has a chance. If I'm being honest,
Yeah.
it's just, it's from a Mario movie. What nice. Here's your nomination. That's all you're getting.
Yeah. Okay, and then Road to Freedom, I wasn't even aware of that one, so that seems to be that's the one from Rustin. And then this one was from She Came to Me. So we'll see. Let's see. We can skip some of these acting ones. Well, let's just say, all right, I'm not even going to read these out. I'm just going to say female actor in a okay, yeah. No, hang on. Not anthology. There's so many categories to this. Best performance by a female actor in a motion picture drama. Let's go. Annette Bening for Naiad, Kaylee Spaney for Priscilla, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, Greta Lee for Past Lives, Lily Gladstone for Killers, and Sandra Hüller for Anatomy of a Fall. Who are you falling with on this?
Considering the only one I've seen is Lily Gladstone, I'm gonna go with her. She was great in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, wish she had a little bit more to do. But if I had to bet on it, who's gonna win? I might actually say Greta Lee because I feel like that was one that was like, I don't know. I feel like that one was one that I kept hearing when that movie first came out. That both performances were like amazing or whatever.
Yeah, that it's like kind of a simpler story, but that the performances are really what elevates it. I agree with that. That being said, I have only seen 3 on this list. So the other 3 I have not yet, but I actually would still go with Lily Gladstone. I think that she has a good narrative, although there really isn't much narrative left on that movie. To be totally honest, I'm not really seeing a lot of people still talking about that movie, but I mean, I'm sure anything can change. But she is, for right now, who I would give it to, even though I think she's let down by the movie itself. All right. Female actor. I think this is definitely going to be Margot Robbie for Barbie. I don't really see that going to anyone else for female in a musical or comedy. This, I don't even have to read the rest. I think it's going to be Divine Joy Randolph. In my opinion, I think a complete lock up for that. I think that if Emily Blunt had more to do, I think that she could be a real lock for this. But the one knock that anyone ever had about Oppenheimer consistently was, well, they kind of wasted Emily Blunt. So, not that it's her fault, but I just don't see how you compete with Divine Joy Randolph, who gives a very subtle but a very, very powerful and moving performance in the whole Looters. Really, really good. But who would you go with in here?
I will follow your lead, even though I haven't seen the movie.
All right. All right. We'd skip some of the television stuff. We can skip this, but I think it's definitely going to be AO winning that. Best performance by a male actor in a motion picture drama: Andrew Scott, All of Us Stranger, Barry Keoghan for Saltburn, Bradley Cooper for Maestro, Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer, Coleman Domingo for Rustin, and Leo for Killers. Who do you got on here?
I'm gonna go with Cillian for this.
Yeah, for this, I'm definitely gonna go with Killian. I'm sorry, Bradley. I don't think it's your year. Um,
Hmm.
I think honestly, for the Golden Globe, if there's any competition, I feel like the Globes would lean towards Leo. Like they like their star power and they like their like big moments with big
Hmm.
people, and it's like I think that would really be um, an interesting upset that I would not agree with, but I think that would be an interesting thing if they went that way. But I think logistically and logically speaking, it's got to be Killian Murphy. All right. And then probably the last one that we're going to do here is best performance by a male actor in a motion picture, musical, or comedy. Do you want to read out that one?
Yeah, so we got Jeffrey Wright for American Fiction, Joaquin Phoenix for Beau is Afraid, your favorite movie,
Oh yeah.
Matt Damon for Air,
Yes.
Nicolas Cage for Dream Scenario, Paul Giamatti for The Holdovers, and Timothy Chalamet for Wonka.
I
What's your
am going
thoughts?
100% Paul Giamatti on this one. Although I am very happy with this crop of nominees. I am very
Hmm.
happy. I think particularly these three right here, Holdovers for Giamatti, Dream Scenario for Cage, and Matt Damon's work in Air. I think those are some of the three greatest performances by an actor this year. But I'll go Giamatti.
Yeah, I will agree with you. I would say if Air came out maybe a month ago,
Yeah,
I'd say maybe Matt Damon has a shot. But I'm gonna go with Giamatti.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Let's see. I just want to make sure there's nothing really more. Yeah, just a lot of TV stuff, which I'm sure we will cover and we will get to. We'll talk about them once they go.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Oh, tell
Yeah,
somebody tell me
this
how the
one.
morning show was.
Yeah, well, this one I want to talk about too, though. This is their new award here.
Oh,
So
okay.
this is cinematic and box office achievement.
Mm.
So cinematic and
Oh,
box office
Taylor
achievement.
Swift.
It's kind of like that, blockbuster award that they tried to do at the Oscars a couple years ago, which went
Right.
over great. Um, no one seems to know what this is based on or what this is awarding.
That's what I was just
Uh,
wondering.
because
Should it just be the?
Dan Murrow made the good point. It should just be the top, and I believe this is 8 nominees, not 6.
Mm.
So he's like, shouldn't it just be the top 8 movies of the year? Which it is not, because unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but Sound of Freedom would have been on this list if that were the case. But it is not. So we have Barbie going up against Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, John Wick Chapter 4, Mission Possible Dead Reckoning Part 1, which is the most interesting given the fact that that was a pretty substantial economic loss for Paramount.
Mm.
Oppenheimer, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Taylor Swift The Eras Tour, and Super Mario Brothers movie. So really, all but Mission Impossible on this list are absolute box office smash hit successes this year. Unfortunately for Disney, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was their pretty much only box office win
Hmm.
this year. The only movie that even got close to $1 billion. But who are you taking, and what are your kind of thoughts on this category that really we don't even know what the hell that means? Cinematic and box office achievement.
Yeah. So my pick would be Barbie. I think because of the phenomenon that it was. Granted, Oppenheimer kind of they both kind of went hand in hand with each other, but Barbie was obviously made more money. But yeah, I'm a little confused, like what you're saying. Like you'd think the way it reads, it'd just be like, oh, whatever movie made the most money this year. Um, but I will say, do not be surprised if Taylor Swift the Eras Tour sneaks in and steals this one. Just saying, just putting it out there. You never
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I think Taylor Swift definitely has a chance. Again, like I
Yeah.
said, Golden Globes likes to go with the like, oh, what's gonna get the big moment. So giving it to Taylor Swift, having her attend, because this all but assures that Taylor Swift will attend the Golden Globes. Probably will do a musical number as well. Uh, my question is though, so if this qualifies for this, because this is not technically a feature film, it's a more of a concert live performance film.
Right.
Uh, Again, I just go back to like, so what does this actually mean? because it says cinematic and box office achievement. Like I don't know. I feel like if I'm breaking it down, I feel like Mission is on here because Tom Cruise does so much for the industry. And I think Taylor's on here just because, and I'm not saying that it's wrong for these movies to be on here. I'm just saying, and I think that Taylor's on here because really the Eras Tour went, hey, this is another way to get people packed into theaters at a pretty low price point. You know what I mean? It's not something that the Eras Tour took, $300 million to produce. It was produced on her tour. Yes, obviously they have a lot that has to go into it. But that's a movie that probably cost around $25 million to produce. And I mean, you look at how much money it made. I mean, it's you're talking 10, 15 times return. I think that was a big story for movies this year. So I actually do think it could. I don't even know if it would be an upset. I just think that Taylor Swift does have a good shot at this award. Again, assuming that that's what this award means, because they don't really, literally all we have is the title of the award to go off of. So, but that is some of our thoughts on the Golden Globes this year. Let us know down below what you guys think should win, what you think should be nominated, everything like that. Now let's move on here. Let's talk a little bit about some Doctor Who. So we did a little bit of an in-depth deep dive. We did a little bit of a deep dive on the first episode 2 weeks back, but now we have the second 2 episodes, both last week's The Wild Blue Yonder and this week's the episode that just came out this past Saturday called The Giggle, which was the 14th Doctor's regeneration story. So TJ, I'm just going to throw it over to you. I'll turn this into a question and answer, because I'm sure you got questions, and I got questions too. But first off, my question is, are you back? I think this is a big test for you and a lot of people going, can this show, get me back and get the show back to a place where I think it's a nice entry point. And before I throw it to you to answer one of my questions, I think that the end of this episode gives us maybe the cleanest entry point since either the first Doctor or the 9th Doctor with Christopher Eccleston. I think that Ncuti is set up to just hit the ground running with almost not needing to know anything that ever came before it, which I think is a big change. But yeah.
Yeah, so I'm going to start with just real quick on what I thought of the second one, so Wild Blue Yonder. I think I enjoyed the second one more than the first one because I felt like the second one was more of what I was looking for as far as the first one. You remember last week when I was kind of like, I prefer more of the we're figuring things out in a rapid pace, and we have more of these philosophical conversations or whatever you want to call them. Instead of, him like in the first one, we're pressing all these buttons and we're divided by a pane of glass. Yeah. So I thought the second one worked really well, very creepy as well. Back to the kind of the creepiness factor of Doctor Who that I think works so well.
Yeah, you specifically brought up, never mind. I guess this is more in the third one, but
the third one.
I want to revisit because last time you specifically brought up that Dollhouse episode. Yeah. And I think that both of these next 2 episodes had some elements of that, which I thought was really funny.
The whole kind of like these creatures that are mimicking you, and the faster you think, then the faster that they can copy you to 100%. So you have to kind of not think or think very slowly. I thought was a really cool and interesting idea. They come up with these things where I'm like, you think they would have run out of us stuff by now, We're just like, I got nothing.
Yeah.
But props to Russ T. Davis wrote this, you said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so props to him for that episode. So I thought that was a good episode. CG was, here and there. Granted, what are you really expecting, I guess? I mean, it's definitely a bigger budget than it was, but it's not a ginormous budget.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So, you're taking what you can get from that. Third episode, I thought was really good. Again, really creepy. Kept that creepiness factor. I thought the CG looked better in this episode, except for the heads. The heads never looked great.
Like
But
on the
what are you gonna
puppet.
do? Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But like that beginning was creepy. Neil Patrick Harris, I thought was great in the episode
Yeah.
as the toy maker. Who I was like, is this? Who is this? And it goes all the way back to like the '60s, like the first episode,
Oh
or
yeah.
one of the first seasons
Hmm.
for that villain. And I'm assuming he's never been seen again up until
No.
that
Yeah,
this
just
point, right?
those,
Yeah.
literally just those two. Well, back then it was like everything was a two-parter or three-parter. Like that's just how
Right,
they
right, right,
produced it. But like that
right,
one story and then this episode, that was it.
right. And then bringing back I forget her name, but she was like a
Mel.
companion.
Yeah.
Yeah, in what
It
I don't
was
know what his name was,
Seven.
the actor.
Sylvester McCoy.
Sylvester McCoy's
Yeah.
season, which I thought was really cool. That was a cool little callback that I definitely was.
And
I
she's
looked up on
gonna
her
be
IMDb.
back
I was
again.
like,
She's there. We've already seen
oh,
her
okay,
in I think set pictures for she's got like 4 episodes coming up. So
yeah.
I definitely think not to interject here. I definitely think
Oh,
that
you're good.
they're continuing to roll the ball. Not that they ever went away, but I really think that they're gearing up to really focus on Unit a lot in
Hmm.
these upcoming seasons. Some people even said that there's a chance that you could see a Unit spinoff. I mean, and Doctor Who has
Hmm.
had spinoffs for many years, but yeah. Sorry, continue.
Um, I enjoyed the whole kind of the different kind of games that they went through to before getting to like the big thing where they're throwing the ball back and forth
Yeah,
and he's on the big gun, like when it's kind of all like not real or whatever.
yeah, like
You know what I'm
the
talking about.
doors and stuff. Yeah, the
The doors
doors
and all that
and the
stuff.
dolls.
I thought that was all really cool.
Sticky baby. That was really creepy. The
Don't do
puppet
that
lady.
ever again, please, in my ear. um, the ball thing was kind of goofy, and I don't know, it didn't really quite work for me.
Mhm.
But I got what they were, they were going with and all that stuff. And then the whole split thing, the whole bi-generation, where I was like, this has never happened ever. They never brought this up once. They probably brought it up, but they're like, oh, it can't happen, not
Yeah.
a thing. So what was your reaction to that? I guess were you like, wow, they're really just doing this? Because I'm over here,
Yeah.
I'm sitting in my chair over here waiting for the emotional reaction of David Tennant, here he goes, he's leaving again, and we just never we get it, but not in the form, I guess, that we think.
Yeah, I mean, I really I was shocked at it. But there had been, and I want to be careful here because I didn't know anything going into this, but I knew that there was a leak out there for like the past year.
Okay.
Where like I'd see tweets that started with like, okay guys, so I'm thinking more and more that leak is true, and it's like so I knew that was happening, and it was some sort of a leak about the regeneration itself.
Right.
Or I think that it was I think more specifically it was just about the fact that Shooty and David would share scenes together, which has really never happened before with a Doctor, in the regeneration episode. So when that happened, I was just like baffled and confused and just like, what is going on? But I really liked it. I thought it was a really interesting, and people are like, oh my god, they're changing the lore so much, and it's like, I think that the whole Timeless Child arc, which was like a big thing with Jodie Whittaker's era, that was like a big lore change. That was like saying, no, actually, the first Doctor wasn't the first Doctor. There was countless before that they just wiped the Doctor's memory, and that there was countless Doctors before the first Doctor. That was just the one when they had gotten their freedom from the vicious Tecteun, TJ. But yeah, there's shows that you can watch. But that was like a big lore change to me. That was like saying, no, William Hartnell wasn't the first guy. There was tons before that. That's like, whoa, this wasn't. People are acting like this changes everything. I think it just changes just this one. Just this one is different. You know what I mean? I don't think that this is going to happen for every regeneration going forward. I don't think that at all. And talking kind of more metaphysical, thematically about the show overall in the episode, I loved the reasoning and what it meant. I loved the whole um Shooty is so carefree and kind of has this ability to be light on his feet and stuff, whereas David is so
Youthful.
dire. Yeah, and David is so dire that, you know, when Donna says like we did it, and it, like Shooty's like, yeah, we did it, and David's like, but how many people did I let die in the meantime? And
Mm.
I like the idea that it's like Shooty is post David doing all of this rehab, aka just living a normal life. So I really like that they were like, okay, the doctor's kind of hitting like a checkpoint, like he's saving the game at Donna's house and is gonna let
Hmm.
himself decompress and forgive himself and kind of understand everything and think about everything and talk to Donna about it all, so that when this is my interpretation of it, so that when David dies, when that doctor dies, then that is the Shooty that we see. You know what I mean? Like that's what I take it as, is that when this 14th Doctor dies, he will just disappear and then become Shooty Gatwa in that moment. That's
Mm.
exactly what I think happened. I don't think that it's people were thinking that it was like a clone of the Doctor. I don't think it was a clone of the Doctor. I think it was going, you know how doctors in past when they get their death injury, and then there's a couple of
Hmm.
minutes where they go, this is just the reset. You know what I mean? I think that all of this time after David gets hit with the laser, up to when he will eventually turn into Shooty, all of that I think is still just the reset. So I think that if you went and
Hmm.
killed David's doctor right now, he would just die. Like he would not regenerate. He would, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? And I think people are kind of getting that wrong and therefore like getting mad at it. And I'm like, I don't think you understand. I don't think you guys are like deciphering it correctly. And I don't think that
Hmm.
it's something. And then I've seen people say, well, then they should have explained it better. And I'm like, no, I think it's just it didn't really need to be explained because it's just kind of this simple concept where it's just like, no, David's kind of taking a vacation, but now Shooty gets to go forward and be the doctor going forward and everything. So I thought it looked great, was great, everything like that. I do think that the catch was a little, whatever. I thought it was a
Yeah.
little, less than stellar. I would have liked like a huge dramatic thing, but again, we're talking about a 10 times bigger budget per episode, which is still 4 times less than Mandalorian. So it's like, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? It's like a show that already sometimes gets flack for not looking great in every episode, Mandalorian. You're talking about a fourth of that budget. So it's
Yeah.
like you can't, as much as I would have loved to have that, you can't then just in the last 10 minutes have a big like space battle or something. But yeah, I overall I really liked it, and I loved Neil Patrick Harris. I thought that he was great. I loved everything with going over Amy Pond and Clara and the flux
Yeah.
and
I love that
everything
all
with the
that stuff.
puppet.
Yeah.
That was so
Hmm.
great. And the
Oh yeah. Can
the
you explain
accent
that to me?
switching. Yeah,
What
what?
is this flux? What is the
Yeah, so
flux?
that was Jodie's final season. Was
Okay.
it was basically this like space parasite that
Hmm.
was working its way from the edges of the universe like inward essentially, and it was
Uh,
basically killing like every other planet as it went through. And so it
okay.
was like this, it was literally just a 6 episode season that literally just ran from October or from Halloween to Christmas, and that was it. Or from
Hmm.
Halloween to Thanksgiving, and that was it.
Hmm.
It was just 6 episodes, but that was basically all it was. And the big thing at the end of that was just that she stopped it, but she stopped it, right before it took over the Earth, essentially. So it was
Hmm.
like it was a very dramatic thing that people, again, just like the Timeless Child thing, where people were like, "Can't wait for Russell T Davies to come in and just like, you know." retcon all that stuff. It's like he is like doubling and tripling down on this. So I thought that was a really fun moment, and people pointed out correctly because I went, oh well, is that kind of lame to Jodie to be like, we have this big emotional connection to Amy and Clara, but then we don't go into any of her companions. But then somebody made a great point that goes, well, he can't bring up any of her companions because all of Jodie's companions lived. She was able to get everyone home alive.
Hmm.
Which, and I was like, oh, you're right. He wouldn't be able to say, like, oh, and this is Graham. He went back home and lived the rest of his life totally normally and unaffected. Like, you know, that wouldn't have been as hard hitting as talking
Yeah.
about the Flux. But yeah, I love that stuff. And I loved the Spice Girls dance number. I thought that easily could have been like stupid. But I thought that was great with all the roses and
Oh
everything
yeah, I
like
love
that.
that
And I
too.
thought it was
that
creepy
was
too
very
with
funny.
the like
Uh-huh.
reality glove or the reality stone of it all, of him turning guys into bouncy balls and like killing them. And Kate goes like, "Doctor, where are they?" And he goes, "I'm so sorry, but they're dead. We have to go." Like, it felt like very like shit was moving, and it was like pretty dire. And then when he does get that gun, it's like, oh my god, what is he gonna do with that? Like, and then I liked the simplicity of the fact that he just took that big gun and just shot the doctor right in the chest. Like that, like that was it. I just liked like
Yeah.
how simple that was. You know what I mean?
About
It
time
wasn't.
somebody did that.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't talk yourself out of this one.
Yeah, exactly. I just thought that was great, and I
He
thought,
said he put the
yeah,
he said he trapped the master in his gold tooth. See that? That was crazy.
I did see-
That's what I. That's
Yeah.
what I knew. I was like, oh, this guy's the real deal right here.
yeah. I didn't even realize that. I think it was partially the accent and partially I was just like either not paying attention, but I was just like I just missed it honestly because that was before I had my surround sound. So I could, if I could have boosted the vocals, I think I won't miss anything in the future. But yeah, going back, and then somebody picks up the tooth at the end of the episode.
Yeah.
So who do we think that was?
I have no idea. Couldn't even begin to think.
People have said that the only person wearing red nail polish in the episode was Kate. So
Oh,
I don't know. Maybe Kate's up to something.
I saw a theory. I forget where I saw it, but somebody was like, "Oh, can you imagine if David Tennant, he just kind of turns out to be the curator at the art museum?"
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that would work?
I think that works 100%. I actually think, going even beyond that, I think you could say that somewhere out there in time travel, that is the Tom Baker that bi-generated. That you could just say that is the Tom Baker from a timeline where he bi-generated into Peter Davidson.
Right.
And so it's like Peter Davidson was like, "Whoa, you're me, I'm you." And then Peter Davidson went off and was the Fifth Doctor, but Tom Baker stayed in London and became the creator, I think, or the curator, sorry. I think either one works. I think either one works for sure. That's kind of why I like this, is because it's like, it just kind of leaves the door open to say like, maybe this could have this could have happened and we didn't even know about it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
there could be doctors out there that are still going. I mean, technically, in a time travel perspective, all the doctors are out there at all times. You know what I mean? But like in the 50th anniversary, no, sir, all 13, and all the doctors are there at once. Like, technically, that could happen at any time. But yeah, I just 100%. I think 100%. I think it's like a cool new thing added to the show that then, like you said, something from a decade ago could explain Tom Baker being in that museum. And seemingly knowing that he is the Doctor. If anything, it's just crazy actually how well that scene lends itself to this whole concept, because it's like, well, how does this old guy have all the Doctor's knowledge and he's kind of playing around, playing coy with himself? And it's like, well, it makes perfect sense if this is a far, far future version of the Doctor that has just traveled back. I kind of love that. And who's to say that maybe the 48th Doctor, just the way the 14th Doctor took the 10th Doctor's face, maybe the 30th Doctor turns into Tom Baker again. You know what I mean? Like, it could be anything, I guess. But yeah, sorry, continue.
You had asked if I am in. I'd say I'm willing to jump back in right now at this point.
Did
Not
you
gonna
see
say,
the teaser?
Is it a season teaser or is it just for like the first episode?
For the first episode, the Disney Plus.
No, I didn't see it. No.
Do you want to watch it?
Yeah, sure, we'll watch it.
30 seconds.
Sure.
All right.
Oh, 30 seconds. Oh boy.
Here we go. Now, I will say, man, honestly, this looks pretty dang good to me.
Okay.
I was like, I don't know if it's that I don't know if it's that editing or what's that Disney Plus marketing budget, but man, something feels different and a little more epic. So here we go. 31 seconds. First trailer for Doctor Who Holiday Special. By the way, first Christmas special in 6 or 7 years, which is crazy because they've had one for every year before that. But The Church of Ruby Road. Here we go. Can you hear it? No, you cannot. Can you hear it?
I can hear it.
Okay, hang on. Come on. There we go. Why? Hold up. Why can't I hear it?
Great.
That's what I just realized. I can still hear you. Man, don't you just miss Wavelink?
No, I don't. I mean, I use it. It's fine. It works for me.
Yeah. All right, here we go. So you can hear it, right?
Yep.
Let me sit you down and tell you a Christmas story. A story of chance, coincidence, and luck.
Who are you?
I like this like mystery.
Oh my God.
Here comes Santa. Who's your friend?
This is...
I thought it looked pretty good.
Yeah,
Interesting trailer.
I just think
teaser.
it feels like a lot more like kinetic. You know what I mean? Like it feels like that more like modern kind of I don't know, it just feels like an American cut trailer versus like a BBC cut trailer, to be totally honest. And because the BBC released a teaser for it like 6 days ago. Or not 6 days ago, they released it on Saturday, a teaser for it. But then Disney released on Monday their version of a trailer for it, and I think that the Disney Plus release trailer is far better than the BBC one. The BBC one is just like kind of just like images and shots of it with like music behind it. Like this is like actually setting up this interesting thing where it's like it seems like the Doctor comes across this baby, leaves it at an orphanage, and then years later that baby is Ruby. Which looks, I'm like, is he going to tell her? Like, kind of sets up this interesting mystery right off the bat, for me at least. I'm very interested to see what comes up with that. But, yeah, I am definitely in. And like I said, too, I do think this just puts Ncuti in a spot where it's like, he can start off his run with, like, almost as clean a slate as, like, the 2005 reboot. Where it's like, you know, David is he's kind of parked with all that baggage, with all the Amy, Rose, Martha, Donna, you know, Rory, everybody that he was with, all those years, or everybody that the Doctor was with all those years. I just think it's great. I just think it's great. But, yeah, very, very good. Overall, rate the 60th anniversary specials. Where would you be at for all three of them out of 5?
Probably 4.
Yeah, I agree. I think I think that 1 was really good when I saw it, and now I'm thinking retrospect, I think it's probably my least favorite of the 3. But it has some great Donna and all of her family and everything like that in it too. So I don't think it's a bad episode, but I just think it's the weakest of the 3. Then I think they just each kept getting better. I really liked the second one, but I didn't think it was like perfect. And then I really, really liked the third one. I thought that they really like pulled it together, and there was some kind of dorky, cheesy moments, but I think otherwise there was some really dark, creepy stuff. I thought the Neil Patrick Harris was an excellent choice for a villain here. Much better American stunt casting than casting Eric Roberts as the Master in the 90s. I think that's much bigger introduction. That being said, Russell T Davies, if you can find some genius way to bring Eric Roberts back as the Master, go for it. I'm down for whatever. That would be crazy if we got him back. But Yeah, overall, I think I'm gonna agree with you. Actually, I think I'm gonna go with a 4 out of 5. But I'm very excited to see Ncuti Gatwa start his new era as the 15th Doctor. But yeah. So speaking of Doctor Who and television and 60th anniversaries of television and everything like that, we are going to end out here. Looks like it's probably we're only in an hour, but I guess I'm talking fast today. We are going to end out with giving you our top 5s, talking a little bit of TV at you, a little bit of TV from 2023. So TJ, let's just take this one at a time. Where do you want to start? Also, by the way,
Well,
I just remembered because if you might shout out something that I completely blanked on because I just
Right.
remembered that Succession ended this year.
dude, I just said the same thing. I was literally just updating my list.
Yeah, literally. Wow.
Okay, why don't we? So you start. We'll just do it how we usually do, even though we only have 5.
Do you have any honorables, or are you like just at 5?
I just have 5. I'd probably say an honorable. This might be a shock. I'd probably say Ahsoka is an honorable for me.
I literally, right before you said that, the final change that I just made was putting Ahsoka at 6. So I think, I agree. I agree 100%.
We were gonna do 10, but then I was like, I just haven't watched, all that television, especially new. But like, granted, like you said, Succession is 2023, the last season.
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you start with your 5, and then we'll go from there.
Well, I do have some honorables. Do you want me to
Okay,
just
yeah,
knock
yeah.
them out?
Your honorable
Okay.
mentions, yeah.
So I would just say, just don't even say anything if they're on your list, because then I'll let you
Okay.
talk about it. But because I did watch, I think in general I probably watch more TV than TJ does, just because I think in general he probably watches more movies than I do, in general. But I will go. Barry is an honorable mention for me. I think Jury Duty is an honorable mention. Invincible only because it's just the first half. I'll throw it on there. Another one, Monarch. I think if that show was over, I think there is a high chance that it makes it in my top 5. I think there's a definite chance that it would be in the top 10, even right now, just halfway over. Then I put season 6 of Black Mirror on there as a honorable mention. That would also be firmly in my top 10 if we were doing a top 10. Like I said, Ahsoka. And then the last 2 honorable mentions are both from Apple, and that is Shrinking, which came out way earlier in the year with Jason Segel, Jessica, oh my God, Jessica Walters, I believe, and Harrison Ford, which was great. And then another Apple TV Plus show, which was Hijack with Idris Elba. That show was incredible. Just 6 short episodes. It was just some of the most action-packed, intense stuff. Actually, to be honest, I'm probably gonna put Hijack at my number 6, my number 1 honorable mention, because that was really like edge of my seat, heart-pounding stuff all 6 weeks. So yeah, that'll probably be what it is. And then you want me to go with my 5?
Real quick, I will also add Barry to honorable mention, and then even though it fell off, I think in the last season, I think I'll throw Ted Lasso on there as well.
Okay, I'll throw Ted Lasso on there as another one. But yeah, I think it definitely the delta there from the first season, but the first 2 to the third one is pretty big. I'll throw another honorable mention there, and I'll say Enterprise Incidents, the podcast. Makes me feel like I'm watching Star Trek while I'm listening to the podcast. So for that reason and that reason alone, I'll just throw that out there. I think that's been one of my favorite concurrent shows to listen episode after episode this whole year. My number 5, I don't know, TJ, I might get some flack for this, for it being so low on the list, but it did premiere this year at the very beginning. And that is number 5, The Last of Us. Do you wanna punt that? Do you wanna what?
Punting that.
Okay. All right.
Punt.
All right. We're punting that. All right. What is your number 5?
My number 5 is a little show that I like to call Welcome to Wrexham.
Oh, see, I'm not even in on this board, so have at it. Have at it.
Yeah, this was a week in, week out viewing appointment for me every Wednesday. Usually it would be, it depended on, I don't know how they decided, but sometimes it would be 2 half-hour episodes, or sometimes it'd be 1 hour episode each week. But just really a really good follow-up season. Obviously,
Is this
everything that
season
happened
2?
in this season, yeah, and it got renewed for a third, I believe.
Nice.
But everything that happened this season already happened, so it happened like months ago. So we already know they got promoted, but seeing the story from the inside, obviously seeing the perspectives of Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, obviously, but also what it means to the town after being down in that lower division for so long.
It really
and
is like Richmond.
What it right, exactly, yeah. What it means to them to finally come back up into, not obviously not the Premier League, but this is where
Would they be
we're
in the
back
Champions League then?
no.
Oh, I don't know.
No, yeah. But Champions League's a whole different
I
monster.
took a shot.
We'd
I
be
took a
talking
shot.
about.
Anyway.
But now we can start to, start to build our way back up, and we can start to, obviously not get to the Premier League because I think that's another 3 or 4 divisions from where they're at right now. But can we get to the next one this coming year, and then maybe we spend a year or two in this one? Then can we get to the next one? And I think the big plus for me on the show is just that it's not just about soccer. It's about what the community means to the team, what the team means to the community, how it's affected different people's lives, the different tragedies that the town has gone through its history. It's a really well documented story, and I'm glad that they got renewed for a third season.
Yeah, now I have a question. How come we can't have like a huge in-depth documentary series following like an NFL team like that? Or have
We do have that.
What do we have?
We have that every season.
What do you mean?
Okay, not as in depth. So there's the show on HBO called Hard Knocks. It's been on for I don't know how many years, but they'll do the preseason. And then they just started, I think, maybe 2 years ago. They just started doing mid-season Hard Knocks. So this year it's the Miami Dolphins. So I think they probably started premiering those episodes maybe 3 weeks ago. And I think it usually goes from that point to the end of the season.
Have they ever done like this iteration of the Bills?
No.
Oh.
No, there's like I forget what the rules are. There's certain parameters that a team has to meet to be able to be on it, I believe.
Like
it's like
they have to be a certain level of good. Like it's not distracting them from the
kind
game.
of like I think it's like, oh, you didn't something about like you didn't make the playoffs in the past however many years. Or granted, I think the mid-season one is different probably, but like I think like the original Hard Knocks, which is the preseason, was like, oh, you didn't make the playoffs in however many years, or maybe a certain amount of wins or whatever. I believe there's like parameters for being on it. But the Bills, to my knowledge, have never been on it.
Okay, gotcha. See, that's what I would love. Like I would watch that. I would watch the shit out of that. I mean, obviously, everyone in their own city would say that, but it's just like I would watch a show that's just every year, Josh Allen being like, gotta fucking get this one, and like Terry Pagula going crazy and stuff.
They approached him to do, at least I think they did, because do you remember the quarterback series that came out on Netflix?
I do, yeah.
So I thought they had said that they approached him to do that for this upcoming one, and that he declined, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. He seems like, I don't know, I mean, I know that everybody knows this, but like, he does seem like that kind of guy that like, I feel like he gets in his own head and he's like, I can't distract myself with that. Yeah, he definitely gets in his own head way too much. Like, and honestly, that's like, I gotta say, she's great with a bow and arrow, but like, you gotta look out for your guys sometimes, Haley. Like, can't be off avenging 24/7.
She's not gonna build that.
Hell yeah, she is.
Those pictures.
I said to my roommate, I said, what do you think the chances are? This was on Monday, so I said, what do you think the chances are that at some point yesterday, in either direction, the text was sent from known friends, Haley Steinfeld to Taylor Swift, going like, I got you today. Like our guys are going up against each other. Like, you know, I was like that. They had to have talked about that. Like Taylor had to have been like, "Oh my God, are you gonna be at this thing?" No, I've got Thunderbolts reshoots. I can't do it.
Taylor Swift, way more famous than Haley Steinfeld.
Oh, I literally said that. I forget what even the context was, but in that conversation, I was like, it's just funny that out of the four of them, like there is very clearly one that is probably 20 times more famous than any of the other three.
Oh yeah,
like in that double date, for sure. My number 4 is a little show that I hope is a punt. It's not going to be a punt because you didn't finish it. But my number 4 is Gen V.
No, I finished.
Oh, you did finish.
That's done.
Never mind. We literally talked about the finale. Everything blends together. So my number 4 is.
I don't
Gen
think
V.
we did. Last week. I don't think we did, but I could be wrong.
I meant we texted about it. But,
oh yeah, that is my number 4.
Shit. There we go. Well, take it. Here's your chance. Give your Gen V thoughts.
Crazy show.
That finale, man. You think?
I don't think it.
What's his name? You think he's done for? And then Marie just goes, you know what, Kate?
Yeah, that was crazy. I mean,
Andre,
listen.
You think Andre's done for?
She's not OP. I mean, maybe she is. I don't know that because I was waiting for I forget her name, the main girl,
Marie.
Yeah, Marie. Yeah. I was like, because I was waiting for that. Like, she can do this blood stuff, but like, couldn't she like technically like exactly blow your limb off at any point?
I think the idea is that they're starting like very small with her powers.
Right.
Like, yeah.
Right. So that was crazy.
Yeah.
Was Senator? I forget her. I always forget
Victoria
her name.
Newman.
Victoria Newman. I thought for some reason in my head she was dead because I remember her exploding that head at the end of season 2. I think it was.
Yeah.
And for some reason in my head, I thought she had died in season 3.
She's on her way to the White House now.
I mean, just a ton going on. I can't even, completely remember.
Yeah, now that you're done, I can say so unabashedly, it's so interconnected. It's like you were like, do I really need to watch it? In episode 2, by episode 2, I was like, yeah, probably. I was like, I think it's going places. And it's like, not that you won't understand the boys, but you'll be like, there's just so much more story to be had, and it's so good, which is like crazy.
I thought that was a great reveal when it was like, oh, Homelander killed your family because they were on the plane. I was like, oh yeah, in like season 1 when
for Dean Shetty, that was crazy.
Yes,
yeah. No, that was great to link that all back together. That was so great. And did they correct me if I might be totally wrong on this? Did they make it that her daughter in specific was the daughter that was the one that Maeve was trying to save? Because they show the flashback.
Oh, I don't know if
they
did
right?
that.
Oh, okay, never mind.
No,
okay,
I don't know if they did.
Because I just remember there was that family that like Maeve was like, if we could just take these 2 people. He was like, no. Man, but yeah, Homelander showing up at the end, absolutely crazy.
I really thought he was gonna come down and just nuke all of them, just like goodbye, see ya.
Literally, yeah. And then I just got a shout out. I can't not. Emma, I think, is one of the best new characters in the boys universe. She's the one that like shrinks and stuff. She is from the first episode. I am so blanking on the actress's name right now, but she is like incredible. Like she is just like dynamite on screen and one of the best screen presence in that show. I loved all of those new characters, like literally all of them, and and I remember you saying like, that's what I'm most worried about is like, am I gonna like these characters as much? And I was like, dude, yes, like they are all written so well. Even somebody like Patrick Schwarzenegger as Golden Boy, who obviously he's not in the show for very long in a traditional sense. But all throughout the season, they find cool ways to bring him back, whether it's flashbacks or memories or the personification of someone's guilt. You know what I mean? I thought that was so cool how they were doing all that. Another great character, Jordan, the like bi-gendered one that their power is that they can swap their gender. I thought Jordan was an incredible character. I think probably if I had to pick the weakest character, it would probably be Andre, but even Andre with his dad, they gave him some really cool and interesting stuff to do at the end. So I think Andre is going to be, an even cooler character going forward. Um, Huge win on Gen V. Just
Mhm.
such potential to be like, well, this is where the boys universe stumbles, and instead it was like they hit the ground running even more. So huge, really like Gen V. So that was my 4 and your 4. So what's your 3?
So my 3 was Succession, season 4.
Oh shit. Okay, that is a punt.
Okay.
Okay. So then my number 3 is something that I'm now getting worried, but I hope made your list, is Loki.
That's a punt.
Okay, all right. So what is your number 2?
So my two's Loki.
Okay, all right. So let's talk about Loki then.
Uh, just a great follow up to a great season 1, and just wonderfully, I guess,
Wonderfully realized.
realized wrapping up a character that we've been with for so long. Well, also, dare I say, getting the MCU out of a certain
Slump.
character predicament
Oh,
as
okay.
well as
Yeah, yeah,
slump
yeah, yeah.
in a way that could possibly work in the future.
Yes. Absolutely. I see what you mean now. Yes, I see what
Yeah.
you mean. Yeah, I mean we covered Loki, I would say I would use the word extensively on the channel. And I loved it. I mean, I loved that was one of the that run in the late summer was really incredible. I mean, just going from Ahsoka into Loki into Gen V into the start of Invincible was just like an incredible run of TV. And if I had started it at the right time, Monarch also started around that time in the
Hmm.
beginning, or sorry, in the beginning of November. Um, Loki was just so good and so, like you said, well realized, well constructed. It felt real. The sets were incredible. The costumes were incredible. The performances were better than the previous season. All that stuff just added up to just be an incredible TV experience, and I thought it was just amazing to me. I
Hmm.
thought it was really really good. Um, so that was your 2. So my 2, which I'm now really nervous here. Uh, my 2 is season 2 of The Bear.
I've never seen it, so it can't be on
Oh
my list.
man. Okay. Well, I mean, I also did. I did a couple videos back on The Bear. That was back. When was that show? June. I think that was. I think The Bear was in June.
Somewhere in there. I
Um.
do I do want to check it out because I do love the fact
Oh,
that the
it's
episodes are
incredible.
about half an hour.
Yeah, it's
Love
incredible.
that.
It's incredible. It's literally like now that Succession is gone, I think it's the best show on TV right now.
Wow.
That's not saying
Yeah.
anything that nobody else has, but what were you gonna say?
Um, just this is I can tell you after our list. It's just a show that I just thought of that I was looking forward to, but we can after the list.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean The Bear, an incredible debut with season 1 last year to just if Loki doubled down, I mean this quadrupled down of more emotion, deeper feeling, even more reliance on themes, and I'm a sucker for
Hmm.
themes and things. Even more reliant on overall themes compared to plot specific things happening. Some of the best single episodes of the year. I think 3 of the best episodes of TV across any show this year are from The Bear. And I think just movie quality cinematography, movie quality acting, movie quality writing, movie quality production value, everything like that. I think this will probably go down. I'm not even thinking about all the ones that they've had on the top of my head. I know Handmaid's Tale. I think this is going to go down as FX Hulu's best show.
Hmm.
I think for sure. And now that it's all folded in, it's now a Disney Plus show, but it's originally started as FX and FX Hulu show. Um, just incredible. Jeremy Allen White, Eben Moss Backrack, every single person that's involved. John Bernthal, Bob Odenkirk, Jamie Lee Curtis, um, Abby Elliott, who I think never ever gets the proper shout out for that show. that she deserves, who plays Carmi's sister, is incredible. Ayo Edebiri, who obviously plays Sydney in the show. I mean, I fell in love with her in the first season. Second season, Sydney is just like one of the most real and heartbreaking characters that you just feel for her, and her overall mental state and emotional state, where it's like she's putting everything to try and keep everyone else afloat, and she is just like somewhat crumpling on the inside, and that the way that that's portrayed in the show was absolutely beautiful. That show is incredible, but it doesn't beat my number one. But we'll get to that in a second, because you still have to let us know what your number one is.
Correct. And before we do, I just want to give you another
Honorable.
Oh, never mind. What I was thinking of was last year.
Oh,
Thought
okay.
it was this year. I was thinking of We Own the City with John Bernthal
Oh,
on
right,
HBO,
right,
that
right.
short
Yeah.
series, but that was last year. My number one is Last of Us.
All the way from my number 5.
Yep.
All right, well, go for it.
I just thought it was an amazing video game adaptation, and they did, with every part of the show, they stayed true to what the video game was and the story, but they also took some liberties that I thought worked out really well. Specifically the episode with oh my
Frank and
goodness.
Bill.
Yeah, Frank and Bill,
Mhm.
which is, from what I remember, way more information you're getting in the episode than you
Yeah.
get in the game. I thought they did an amazing job kind of carving out that episode and having it work into the narrative as a whole. And I'm really excited for season 2. I'm very excited to see oh my god, her name's blanking.
Caitlin
I
Deaver.
literally just Caitlin Deaver. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, we just talked about.
I was
her,
just
but,
hoping that was what you were talking about.
Yeah, Caitlin Deaver is Abby.
She's gonna look crazy
excited-
once she goes on
excited
the
to get her get
MCU
jacked.
diet. Yeah, she's gonna.
Yeah.
They're putting her on that Camille diet right now.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see her and Bella Ramsey face off.
100%. Yeah, I mean, obviously. Well, first of all, I just want to say, all those shows that I just said, Black Mirror, Monarch, Shrinking, Invincible, Jury Duty, Barry, Hijack, Ahsoka, are all shows that I thought were incredible and loved, and I thought they were all worse than The Last of Us. So like The Last of Us being at 5 is not any knock on The Last of Us whatsoever. I loved that show. I just think that the other 4, I think, just kind of opened up to me a little bit more. But I loved it. I thought that Pedro Pascal was amazing. The performances, it reminded me of early Walking Dead, what The Walking Dead could have looked like if HBO had picked it up. It reminded me of that, and even more so, I thought that it was, I don't know, I think it was, I mean, not to only compare it to The Walking Dead, I just thought that it was like The Walking Dead done way better. Again, similar to The Bear, the fact that it's like you have all this cool stuff going on, but then the show goes, we're so confident in our storytelling and our characters that that's what the focus of the show is. And I know that some people thought that was a detriment to not have as many of the clickers in the show, and to not have as many of them, present or whatever, but I thought it was perfectly fine for what they were trying to do. And I thought that when they did have big action scenes with the clickers and stuff, I really thought, and the infected, I really thought that stuff was crazy, particularly the end of the episode with Melanie Linsky, the what are their names? Sam and the 2 brothers, the young deaf boy, Sam and whatever his brother's name is. That episode was really good. I think maybe they were trying to get through Chicago, I think. Really great episode that ends with that kind of courtyard, and it's kind of Joel with the sniper, and then that
Henry.
horde, Sam and Henry, and then that horde of infected just rises up from like the subway, like under the house, like they just crawl out from the ground, and it's like, and I remember watching those epic behind the scenes things from HBO, just breaking down that it's like, they used 55 extras, and then some of them had to be digital and some of them had to do this, and there was the giant the bloater, so much great stuff in that show, so much great stuff. I really liked that show a lot this year. But to me, man, I think it all just comes down to that funeral episode of season 4 of
Oh, yeah.
Succession. Just like shattered my soul in a way that I don't think I. Yeah, can we get him out?
Can I just
but-
say real quick?
yeah,
Speaking of Kieran Culkin, did you see the like Macaulay Culkin's like just? I don't know if I had ever heard him speak as an adult, but I was like, holy shit,
Yeah,
they
he
sound like
sounds-
the
he
exact
sounds
same
exactly the same,
person.
No, it really. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's because that was what how the tweet framed it in my mind. But yeah, I
Right.
clicked that video and I went. It literally was just like, this is such an honor for me today. Like, and I was just like, wait, is that what he's always sounded like? I made my family disappear. Roman's dream, right? I made my family disappear. No, but genuinely, I mean, whether it is I think the ballsiest decision in I don't even know how long, because they kill Walter White in the finale. Oh, spoiler alert for that. They kill Walter White in the finale. So it's like, that's kind of expected. Are we okay to say who dies in season 4 of Succession at this point? You think we're okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
To kill your main character after 2 episodes, it's just like one of the ballsiest decisions I've seen on a show in so long. And rather than hurt the show at all, it just like made it 10 times better, because it's just like you have this, because of shows like Breaking Bad and Sopranos, and well, Sopranos actually is left open-ended, but you know, you have these archetypes and these arcs in your mind that you go, okay, well, the show is probably going to be building up to when Logan dies, so that's what we're building up to, and then to just have the rug pulled right out from under you at the very beginning of the 3rd episode, at Connor's wedding, no less. I thought it was incredible, and I think another shout out that I want to give is Matthew McFadden. I think this was easily Tom's best season, in terms of the material that he was given to work with, his storyline, and Matthew McFadden's performance. I thought Tom was never better than this. I think that Kendall was fantastic, and then again, I think Roman was really the big winner coming out of this season. I just think that Kieran Culkin really nailed that character in a way that I don't even think he had in the first 3 seasons, and I think he was great in those. But this was really where we got to explore and go deep into Roman's entire psyche and everything like that. I just thought it was start Alan Ruck, fantastic as well. I just think start to finish, it was the best season of television this year.
Yeah, I am 100% lockstep with you. Even though I finished it on a
James
plane,
Cromwell.
still
James
got all
Cromwell
those
as
feels.
well.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, so let's go back, review our lists again.
All right. So you want to hit yours?
Yeah, I'll have mine. So number 5 is Welcome to Wrexham. Number 4, Gen V. Number 3, Succession. Number 2, Loki. Number 1, Last of Us.
All right. So I am not entirely flipped, but I'm a little flipped from you. So 5, I have The Last of Us. 4, I have Gen V. 3, I have Loki. 2, I have The Bear. And number 1, I have season 4 of Succession. So boom. I think absolutely stellar year of TV. Hopefully House of the Dragon is number 1 on my list next year. But I was very sad that there was no House of the Dragon this year. That being said, though, I think it was still a really good year for TV. And, you know, there's a ton of reality shows and stuff, too, that we didn't really get into that I just haven't really had the time to watch all that much of. But I've had some changes in my life and changes in my household life. I have a lot more free time to just do stuff on my own. So I'm probably, you know, gonna get caught up on some things like Squid Game, the challenge and stuff, you know, to see.
Oh, that's really good.
Apparently it's really
that
good,
show.
but I mean, it is kind of evil, and a little disgusting, but
Yeah.
I guess the internet was like, you know what, but this one's so good, you can go ahead and watch it. So
I mean, we got
we'll see.
we got Penguin apparently coming 2024. We got Acolyte coming in 2024.
Skeleton Crew.
Skeleton Crew.
Oh, by the way, still left for this year too. We still have all of What If season 2. is still coming this
Oh
year.
wow, that's so.
Yeah.
When is that? Next week or 2 weeks from now?
Yeah, next week.
20. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
22nd. Yeah.
Yeah.
So real quick, the one show I really wanted to mention that I'm
Yes.
excited for that I forgot about. And another one, I guess, Fallout. Obviously, we talked about the other day. But have you heard about the show from Park Chan Wook? The
Yes.
Sympathizer.
Yes, I have.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Did you see the trailer?
The one that came out like 7 months ago. Yeah.
Was it 7 months
Yeah,
ago?
it was like it was at that Warner Brothers investor call or something. It was
Oh,
it was
fuck
when they
me.
released that
Okay.
Penguin
I just saw
featurette. No,
2
you're
weeks
totally
ago.
fine because they released
Okay.
that trailer all that time ago, way before the strikes.
Yeah.
And then it like got all this new popularity. Like people just all of a sudden naturally were starting to talk about it again.
Right.
So
Oh, yeah, here it is 7 months ago.
yeah.
Shit.
Oh, was it exactly 7 months?
It was like 8 months ago.
Oh, okay.
they
Wow.
put it
I didn't
out,
even
yeah.
think about that. That's hilarious. All right.
But I didn't realize RDJ was playing like 5 different people.
Yeah. Now, something that I only found out in this recent kind of surge of a ton of people talking about it is
Yeah.
do you know like what the conceit of his character is?
No.
I thought that what it was that he was like a spy, and so
Mm-hmm.
he had all these different disguises. Apparently, what it is he is playing the human personification of America.
Oh, okay.
But it changes.
Okay.
It's like the different facets
Right.
of America. And I was like,
Okay.
okay, that sounds like super metaphysical, interesting, crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't wait to see the performance. I can't wait to see the show, and I can't wait to hear RDJ be able to talk about it, like
Yeah.
because he hasn't really talked about the show at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's a big one.
That's
also
I just
HBO,
took out
right?
Old Boy again from the library,
Yeah.
so hopefully this time I'll be able to watch it. But you said you you saw Decision to Leave, right? You like
Yes,
that movie?
yeah.
I gotta check that one
Yeah,
out.
yeah. No, Decision to Leave is very, very good. That's what I was gonna say earlier when we were doing the Globes. I was like, Zone of Interest and what's the other one? Anatomy of a Fall are like this
Mhm.
year's Decision to Leave and what was the rich people one? Triangle of Sadness. It's like those are this year's versions of those two movies. Like it's
That
like
was last year?
yeah, Triangle of Sadness.
No, Decision to Leave.
Oh yeah, Decision to Leave was last
Holy
year.
shit! I thought it was like we didn't talk about that this year. That is crazy.
No, yeah, that was definitely this that was definitely this past
No,
year.
I'm reading it. It says 2022. I am shocked. Holy crap!
I'm just shocked that last year was 2022. If I'm being honest, it feels
Wow,
like so
I
long
did
ago.
not realize that.
Well, all right. Some last things here to cover. Next week, please join us. It is going to be the last PFNLive show of the year. But we are going to have a guest on. We're going to have Christmassy time. We're going to be talking about Christmas. We're going to be looking like Christmas. It's going to be a Christmassy time. And then we will not have a show on the 26th, just because it's right after Christmas. I'm definitely going to have to work that day because I'm not working Christmas. And then we will be off on the 2nd as well, just because, again, I will not be working New Year's Day, so I will definitely have to work the 2nd. And it just gives us a break because then on the 9th of January, we will be back, and we are going to take 2 weeks, get caught up on everything that we
Top
can
tens.
get caught up on, and absolutely, we are doing full show dedicated to top 10s. Definitely some honorable mentions, but we are doing our full top 10s of 2023 on January 9th. So join us for that. And until you do, while you're on this video, go down below, press subscribe, press like, press share, press comment. Let us know what your thoughts are on Doctor Who, on the Golden Globes, on TV of this past year, everything like that. But that will do it for me. I have been, as always, one of your hosts, Sean Monk.
I've been another host, TJ Cornwell. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on our social medias, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and we will see you next time.
Boom.